This is Manitou Springs in Colorado. At the base of Pikes Peak in the back you can see the railway going up the small mountain. I had some time before my trip up Pikes Peak, so I kind of ambled around Manitou Springs. It's not as I remember it when I was a kid back in the 70s. It seems a little more touristy, and it doesn't seem like there's as many trees as there used to be. This is kind of looking down the main street of Manitou Springs with the mountains in the background. Kind of busy. Nice, very nice little town. Again, very touristy, lots of traffic. They do have a cog railway going up this small mountain. There's some kind of an incline, kind of like the one they got in Dubuque, Iowa here. You can see it in the background. Okay, this is up at the base of the cog railway that goes up Pikes Peak, and as you can see, there's just a lot of people there. A lot of people going up Pikes Peak every day, just herding them in and herding them out. Okay, we're on our way up Pikes Peak after loading up all the cars. That holds over 200 some people. As you can see, a lot of rocks, and we're in the foothills here. It goes about 8 miles an hour, so it takes almost an hour and a half to get all the way up Pikes Peak. And as you can hear, there's a tourist giving us information as we go up the mountain, pointing things out.
Visiting from Delaware, however, old-fashioned sleigh. That is at the front of the train now. A large boulder that looks like an old-fashioned sleigh. That is at the middle of the train now.
There was a family sitting in the same cubicle area that I was at, and I felt sorry. Their one little granddaughter was sick. She actually ended up throwing up into a barf bag a couple times on the way up. She generally wasn't feeling too great, so I don't think she enjoyed the trip too much.
Such tanks on our journey today, leftovers from our steam engine era. The train that you're on today, however, is powered by diesel.
These cog railways, there's only one track going up the mountain, so they have to have switch areas for another train to pass. You have to actually stop and wait for the next train to go by.
Like this so that we can safely pass one another. We will be passing another train at this point, which means that we will be coming to a stop for a few moments.
And as you can see on this cut, we had to wait for the next train to go by. Unfortunately, I didn't have a window seat, so I had to shoot across people, so I didn't get really great footage here, but you can kind of still get an idea of what's going on by looking out the window.
Just a few moments where the trees will clear and give you time for one shot. I will let you
As you can see, going up here, it's a very alpine experience, but we're slowly getting into more rocky areas, and eventually it actually goes above timberline where there's no trees at all. It gets a little more interesting the higher you go. You can see here now that we're above timberline, and they call it like an alpine tundra up here. And apparently there's a lot of permafrost here where the ground never ever thaws out. Forgive my shakiness here. It was hard to shoot through the windows and people, but it was really neat seeing the other railroad car just kind of on the side of this mountain, this rocky cliff there, just going up the side of the mountain. It gives you an idea of how small the cars are in comparison to the mountain size. It's kind of scary looking out the edge too at times. Okay, we've disembarked from our rail cars and we're actually on the top of Pikes Peak, which is 14,110 feet. It's the third highest elevation, I believe, in Colorado. As you can, that's looking east. It's much flatter to the east. And they told us how many states that you can actually see into Kansas on a clear day. But one thing I noticed being in Colorado, there's not a lot of clear anymore. There's a lot of pollution because there's so many people out there. The temperature dropped quite a bit too. It was in the low 40s. So we went from 90 degrees down into the 40s. It's kind of interesting. On the top of the mountain, all the rock seems to be well crushed. I don't know if that's because of man-made crushing of the rock or what, but going up the mountain you see these huge boulders, but at the top it's all this finely crushed stone up there. Again, this is the very top of the mountain. You can walk 360 degrees and see for miles, and according to them, several states away. The view up here is absolutely magnificent. As you can clearly see, it's just incredible. You're actually looking down, watching birds flying below you. Great place to commit suicide if you wanted to.
Suicide, this would be the place to do it. Man, is it cold up here. Oof.
They didn't give us a whole lot of time to be up here. We only had a half an hour, so to take all your pictures and do your sightseeing, and then they had a gift shop and everything inside to get your souvenirs. Not much time to do it. You missed the bus, and they said it's a long walk down. Again, the view is just, this is looking to the north. It's just incredible. And there goes a bird, as you can see. It's just unbelievable up there. It's extremely cold up there, though, and I cannot imagine what it would be like in the winter. It must be brutal. But the Cog Railway is now open 365 days a year. They do keep the tracks cleared, so you can go up any time of the year. It'd be pretty brutal up in the winter, I would say. There's this little viewing area down there you could climb down to if you was real brave. It's kind of perched out on the cliff there. You just stand up there in the middle of nowhere. As you can see in the next clip, there's a guy that was actually down there taking pictures. I wasn't quite that brave. This is pretty cool. That's the guy standing on the edge there, and he's just nothing below him. I got some really neat still pictures of this guy too. It was really just an awesome thing down there. Okay, this is my last clip. We're all going to be getting on the train and heading back down the mountain, and it's pretty much the same thing going down as coming up, so that's pretty much all I shot. It was a great experience, and I'm glad I went up. It was only $35. It was well worth the time and effort doing it. Thanks for stopping by.